Here we are again. We are discussing the next word problem of our exercise book, exercise 5A, book 2, question number 4. We have discussed the first three questions up till now. This is the fourth question, again a word problem, and in this word problem, it says a florist buys roses at $18 per dozen. So if you look at the first half, in this first half, this is the only mathematical thing, $18. Okay. If I continue reading the question, if she sells them at $1.20 each, express her loss as a percentage of her selling price. Okay, so this is the question. In this question, you can just first of all separate the part in which they are asking you to find out something. So this is the unknown part. This is the part which tells you what to find out. The rest is the part which is the given or the information part. This is the information part. In this part you will get every important information that you will require to find the unknown. So I have separated the unknown part. I have the known part here. The unknown part tells me to find out loss as a percentage of her selling price. So I have to find out loss percentage and of her selling price as well. So I am not going to use this formula. I am not going to find out loss as a percentage over cost price. I will replace cost price with selling price in order to find loss as a percentage of the selling price. So there will be a little change in this formula. This cost price in the denominator at both the formula should be replaced with selling price because the question demands it. Anyway, so I'll calculate loss percentage, but for that I'll either need loss, I'll either need cost price or selling price or whatever. Depends what kind of information do I have available. So first of all, a florist buys roses. Buys means this is her cost price that I've given you. The cost price is given $18 for how many? For a dozen roses. A dozen means for 12 roses. So I have the cost price of 12 roses. And how much is that? Cost price is $18 for a dozen or for 12 roses. That's perfectly alright. Okay, this is the cost price. Then if she sells them at $1.20 each, then I have the selling price, and the selling price is how much? The selling price is $1.20, but for each rose. This is where the problem is. I have the cost price of how many roses? 12 roses. I have the selling price of how many roses? Of 1 rose. I should have the cost and the selling price of either 12 roses or of 1 rose. They both should be for either 12 or for 1 rose. Now it's up to me what would I prefer doing. If for instance I want to convert this data for each value. So I'll have to find out the cost price of 1 rose. I have the selling price of 1 rose already. I can either go in this direction or I can do one more thing. I can convert it into cost price and selling price of 12 roses. Okay? I can either bring the data on the cost price and selling price of 1 rose, or I can either bring the data on cost and selling price of 12 roses. That's totally up to me. But one thing that I cannot continue with is this set. This set is not going to help me because cost price is for 12 and selling price is for 1. They both should be for 12 or the width should be for 1. So if I want to do it for 1 rose, so $18 for how many roses? 12. For 1 rose it should be 18 divided by 12, and I'll find out the cost of 1 rose. I can continue with this. The cost of 1 rose now is $1.5, and how much is he selling it for? He is selling it for $1.20. His selling price is his selling price is less than his cost price. So he is definitely having loss. Anyways, so and on the other hand, you can convert both these values for 12 roses. So cost price of 12 roses is already there. This will remain unchanged. This is $18 for 12 roses, and I will have to find out the selling price of 12 roses. For that, what do I need to do? 1.2 multiplied by 12, and 1.2 multiplied by 12 should become 12 and 2 and 4. I guess it is 14.4. You can always check my answers if you want. I'm just assuming that this is the correct answer. Anyway, so again you can see his selling price is less than his cost price. Anyhow, I have now both the things available. I have cost and selling price of 1 rose, or I have cost and selling price of 12 roses. I can continue with this, or I can continue with this. In this question, this is the most difficult part. You have to realize that both the things should be for 1 or should be for 12, like I have done there in front of you. I am going to continue with this part. I have the cost price of 1 rose, I have the selling price of 1 rose. I have to find out loss percentage. We know the formula by default for loss percentage is loss percentage is equals to either loss upon cost price, or either cost price minus selling price upon loss, or selling price minus cost price, whatever you decide. I know since I have loss, so my cost price is more than selling price. Cost price minus selling price over what? We usually have cost price over here, but since the question is saying percentage of a selling price, so this should be replaced with selling price multiplied by 100. This now is the formula. Cost price is 1.5, selling price is 1.2, divided by selling price, which is again 1.2, multiplied by 100. 1.5 multiplied by 1.2 becomes 0.3 over 1.2 multiplied by 100, and we can just cancel this decimal with this one. 3 over 12 becomes 1 upon 4 multiplied by 100, which eventually becomes 25%. So the final answer for this question is 25%. I hope there is everything absolutely correct. If there is anything, do let me know. We will try to solve it again.